The city of Chicago is on edge. Even just the thought of ICE is causing people to move in a frenzy. Schools have been noted to have had ICE appearances, and even the city itself is starting to seem like a ghost town. Let's discuss it. Welcome to Global Reference News. Inside America, I'm Jericho reporting. The city of Chicago is on edge. Just recently, there was a report that ICE was trying to get into a school to conduct some business. Now, this may not necessarily be true. We're going to look at some news footage from NBC Chicago that'll actually give us an inside look on what actually happened.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us here on this busy Friday. I'm Alex Maragos.
And I'm Marion Brooks, and we begin this afternoon with breaking news from the South Side at a school there. Earlier today, officials at Hamline Elementary School in the Back of the Yards neighborhood say Immigration Customs Enforcement agents showed up at their door. When asked to produce a warrant, they left. But now ICE says it wasn't them. Chicago police say it wasn't them, and the Cook County Sheriff's Department says it wasn't them either. V. Wynn is live for us at Hamline School. She's got the very latest. V, this is quite a mystery.
Yes, it is, Marion. You can feel the tension, fear, and worry in this community. Some parents tell me they rushed over to the school after hearing reports that ICE agents showed up this afternoon. Chicago Public Schools telling us that staff and security immediately followed protocols and did not allow these agents inside while they assessed the situation. So according to Chicago Public Schools, this happened around 11:15 this afternoon. CPS leaders say some people arrived at the school near 48th and Bishop, presented credentials, and identified themselves as ICE agents. It's unclear how long that interaction was for and who these agents were looking for. CPS leaders say security and staff have been trained and have been preparing for what to do when agents arrived. They say they will continue to follow guidance that unless a court order or a federal warrant is presented, that agents will not be permitted. Here's what the district's chief of education and the principal had to say about what happened earlier today.
The ICE agents were not allowed into the school and were not permitted to speak to any students or staff members. Here is the bottom line. Our students and staff are safe. Our protocols were followed.
We will not open our doors for ICE, and we are here to protect our children and make sure they have access to an excellent education. We stand in solidarity with our families and the Back of the Yards community.
The Department of Homeland Security says this was not an ICE encounter. Chicago police telling us the department did not receive any calls for service at the school. Cook County Sheriff's Office said it's not their jurisdiction. So as you can imagine, this caused a lot of confusion and anxiety for neighbors and parents who have kids attending the school.
Andona is more kids in there. They don't got no papers. You know, it's not fair. They're little kids.
I feel bad for all those children.
They should leave the school alone. That's sanctuary right there. So they should leave the kids in school. They shouldn't come and play with them.
So rapid response teams made up of volunteers from different organizations responded today. As school was letting out, they provided families with Know Your Rights information. So back out here live again, DHS telling us that this was not an ICE encounter. CPS telling us they followed protocols, and they're reassuring family and staff and students here that they are committed to protecting the rights of students regardless of their immigration status. Of course, we are following this story. We'll have another update for you coming up at 5. Reporting live in the Back of the Yards neighborhood. V1 NBC 5 News.
And V, I know you've been trying to get video of what may have happened there, but no video just yet to try to figure out who may have come to this school. So we appreciate that update, and we'll keep working on that story. Thank you, V.
We are continuing to follow breaking news here at 4:30. Confusion and concern over a situation at a Southside school.
Officials at Hamline Elementary in the Back of the Yards tell us that Immigration Customs Enforcement agents showed up at the door earlier today, but then left after being asked for a warrant. But ICE says it was not their agents who showed up there. We asked Chicago police. They say they did not receive any calls for service at that location. And the Cook County Sheriff's Department says it was not them either. On MSNBC this afternoon, CPS CEO Pedro Martinez said the staff followed protocol at the school. NBC5's V. Wynn is following the story as well. She will have the latest update coming on our news at 5 o'clock tonight.
Good evening to you. I'm Marion Brooks in tonight for Allison Rosati.
And I'm Stephen Holt. Thanks for being with us at 5 o'clock. We're going to get right to those breaking details on what was an encounter this morning that sparked a lot of confusion at a Chicago school. We've been trying to get some answers on this. Tonight, the Secret Service tells us it was their agents who visited Hamline Elementary School in the back of the yards as part of an investigation unrelated to immigration enforcement. But that incident sparked concerns about enforcement in the community. NBC5's V. Wynn joining us live from the school with what we know so far, trying to get some answers, but also some reaction from parents there. V?
Yes, guys, we just confirmed within the last 30 minutes or so that Secret Service agents showed up at the school today. They were investigating a threat that was made. You know, this has caused a lot of fear and anxiety and worry for so many people in this community, initially thinking that this was related to immigration enforcement. So this is what we know so far. According to Chicago Public Schools, several people showed up at the school around 11:15 this afternoon, presented credentials, and identified themselves as ICE agents. CPS leaders say security and staff immediately followed protocols and did not allow these agents inside while they assessed the situation. The Department of Homeland Security now telling us it was not ICE, it was not an ICE encounter, and now within the last 30 minutes or so, we can confirm that agents with the Secret Service was conducting an investigation. A federal spokesperson telling us they were investigating a threat made to one of their protectees. Excuse me. This was in reference to the recent TikTok ban. That investigation led them to a home next to the school, then over to the school as part of their investigation. We heard from the president of the Chicago Principals and Administrators Association about the steps taken earlier to ensure the safety of students.
It seems like to me that the principal here handled it well. She kept them from coming into the school. She called her boss, the network chief. The network showed up. Safety and security showed up. We walked in. All the CPS was there supporting the principal, supporting the students, supporting the parents. And it looked like this is an example of all of us, the unions, management, teachers union, principals union, management, everybody working together to make sure the kids here were safe.
Again, CPS leaders say security and staff have been trained. They've been preparing for this and say they'll continue to follow guidance. So unless a court order or a federal warrant is presented, ICE agents will not be permitted related to any immigration enforcement. But as you can imagine, this is causing a lot of confusion, a lot of anxiety for neighbors and parents who have kids attending the school.
Yeah, because not only my granddaughter, is more kids in there, they don't got no papers. You know, it's not fair. They're little kids.
I feel bad for all those children.
They should leave the school alone. That's sanctuary right there. So that's they should leave the kids in school. They shouldn't come and play with them.
Rapid response teams made up of volunteers from different organizations also responded today. As school was letting out, they provided families with know your rights information just in case. So back out here live again, a lot of moving parts and a lot of things developing. So initially, officials here at the school thought that they were confronted by ICE agents at the school related to an immigration enforcement. The Department of Homeland Security telling us it was not an ICE encounter. The Secret Service now telling us that they were conducting an investigation, a threat made to one of their protectees involving the recent TikTok ban. So again, a lot of confusion, a lot of anxiety for folks here, but that is the most latest updated information that we have. It was Secret Service agents conducting an investigation involving that threat. That is the very latest. I'll send it back to you.
Thanks so much, V. Good to know that element of the story now. I'm sure there's a lot of questions as to how that all played out. Thank you so much. We appreciate the update.
So as you can see, the city of Chicago is pretty much on the watch for anything that even seems like ICE. And a lot of the times it really actually isn't ICE, but it's actually other things that's going on. But this still hasn't stopped people from staying indoors. Just recently, News Nation did a report that said that the city of Chicago, especially the Latin American neighborhoods, are starting to look like a ghost town. Let's take a look at this footage.
Promises made, promises kept, with President Trump taking immediate action on his top campaign focus, fighting illegal immigration. From coast to coast, ICE agents going city to city, sometimes door to door, tracking down the nearly 1.5 million undocumented set for deportation. And as ICE closes in on migrants, once vibrant Chicago neighborhoods are now turning into ghost towns. And tonight we are taking you to a neighborhood that has gone silent.
Like I said from day one, no one's off the table.
The Trump administration setting out to execute what it has promised.
We arrested 1,300 people. Over 1,000 of them were criminals.
Immigration and customs enforcement operations reportedly underway in jurisdictions all across the nation. Federal agents have been spotted in many sanctuary cities carrying out these operations.
I hope the sanctuary cities come around.
The usually bustling and vibrant streets of this Hispanic neighborhood in Chicago sit relatively empty because of the concerns over ICE.
Welcome to Mezquite Restaurant, sir.
This little taqueria, like most in the Pilsen neighborhood, is owned and operated by immigrants. The Cruz family, who in 1994 made the long journey from Mexico City to Chicago to grow their little taco stand into a thriving restaurant.
We got tacos, we got breakfast, chilaquiles.
This American dream is one thousands of migrants are striving for when they cross the southern border. But the drastic shutdown of illegal immigration is a campaign promise the majority of American voters are expecting Donald Trump to make good on.
Honest to you, when he come back again, I was like, man, I feel scared.
President Trump, border czar Tom Homan, and the highest-ranking members of Immigration and Customs Enforcement say they're only targeting violent criminals during these initial deportations. News Nation has seen what these operations look like. I rode along and conducted early morning raids with ICE agents when they arrested men from Iraq and Belize, convicted criminals who spent prison time for robbery and gun charges.
I'm not a criminal. I'm a good guy. I pay my taxes. I do everything right. You know what's going to happen to me? They're going to grab me too. You know? They're not going to check right now.
We've seen examples of resistance throughout Hispanic neighborhoods, including these signs instructing immigrant men and women to push back and block federal agents from entering their homes. But the reality is, new polling shows 65% of Americans strongly support deporting immigrants convicted of violent crimes. That includes Horatio Aguilera, an Iraq War veteran and Mexican-American police officer. He voted for Trump and wants mass deportations of criminals to carry on as quickly as possible.
A lot of Hispanic Americans, there was also a rise that voted for Trump. I think 9 out of 10 people that are living here in America, Chicago, Illinois, are going to agree that if you're an illegal resident and you are arrested for committing a crime, prosecuted for committing a crime, and you are an illegal resident, you are subject to deportation.
The so-called mass deportations have not been carried out in Chicago like people once believed. But that hasn't stopped local and state leaders from sounding the alarm and strengthening local codes which reinforce the city's sanctuary status.
We should stand up for them. That is the right thing to do. But he's trying to tear things down.
Governor, what's your response to people who might say that Democrats are the one sowing chaos, confusion, and fear-mongering when talking about mass deportations that haven't even happened in Chicago?
What are you talking about? They are literally threatening people all across the country. How can you say that we're overreacting somehow? We're not.
The Trump administration is vowing to investigate and prosecute local and state officials who stand in the way of what the federal government is doing.
So as you can see, with ICE being in the news often, a lot of people are making more of this than what it actually is. Yes, there are ICE raids that are going on, but maybe not to the capacity that everybody is thinking or imagining it to be. Just recently, we had here in Los Angeles, we had a checkpoint, and it had something to do with an accident, but people were sending photos and TikToks saying that ICE is, setting up checkpoints all over the city. And this was further from the truth. Further, some of the checkpoints were for people that were suffering from the Los Angeles fires and they needed a place to stay, so they were checking people into SoFi Stadium. So the whole ICE rhetoric in the news is causing people to really lose it. A lot of people don't want to leave home. A lot of people don't want to send their kids to school. A lot of people don't want to conduct life as business as usual. And I can understand why. You really don't want to take the risk, even if you don't have to. But if you have to work, you got to send your kids to school, then you have to do what you got to do. And most likely ICE isn't there. It's very, very minute. They're going after criminals, as they say. But who knows, as Tom Homan says, anybody who's here illegally isn't off the table. This is Gerald Colbert with Global Reference News. Follow us at www.globalreferencenews.com for more stories, not only for stories happening here in America, but we also have stories happening worldwide that may interest you. Give us a like, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much.